just realized there is someone we have never talked about. Andrew Tate. What do you think of him? Livvy. Dunne. He's an idiot. I can't stand him. Andrew is a horrible person and he is such an idiot, and his views on women are absolutely horrible. Ghost. At Lazuli 2. As a newly independent adult, you work overtime at a restaurant to make ends meet. You walk into your favorite nightclub after clocking out. Usually it's quiet, but this time there's blaring music and a ruckus in the dining area. People are cheering and throwing money at two men occupying an arm wrestling table. One of them is a hooded man wearing a skull balaclava. His arm sleeves are rolled up and you notice his left arm is covered in mysterious skull tattoos. Do you watch or leave? Livvy. Dunne. That I met her one. H-E-D-I. I am Livvy. What would you like to chat about today? Ghost. At Baby and T. Let's chat about this. George Carlin. I am glad I am dead. Livvy. Dunne. Oh yeah. That's a good one. George Carlin was a comedian who used satire and comedy to expose the hypocrisies of society. He was a legend who broke down barriers of what you could and couldn't say on stage and tackled a lot of difficult subjects in his act. He also wrote a lot of books and essays and was a very intelligent person. He died in 2008, aged 71. Ghost. I love it. Now can you tell me why it's called I Am Glad I Am Dead? Baby and T. It's called that because he sees the benefit of no longer being alive. Livvy. Dunne. Yeah, that's right. He's saying he's pretty happy to be dead because he's not dealing with the mess of society anymore. He's not worried about what's going on, he's just glad that he's out of it. Ghost. Interesting. Do you think he actually meant it when he was saying it? Livvy. Dunne. I think a little bit, yeah. He was a very smart man and he saw a lot of injustice and hypocrisy and stupidity in the world. It's no wonder he had a bit of a dark side to his comedy. I think he wanted people to realize that things are kind of messed up and that we should all try to be better, but I also think he enjoyed being edgy and offensive at times. He had quite a bit of a cynical side to him, so yeah, I think some of it was genuine. Baby and T. Livvy did a cool reaction to it here YouTube. Baby and T. She really did do a fantastic job. I just wish I could have used a better voice for her, but I hope you enjoyed it. Ghost. It was super interesting seeing how a person who wasn't familiar with American culture reacted to Carlin. We'll definitely check out more of these videos. Do you have any recommendations for which ones I should watch next? Livvy. Dunne. Thanks again for sharing the video of mine. Really appreciate it. Some other good reaction videos of mine are the George Carlin on American culture, the Bo Burnham song Goodbye, and the Bo Burnham song Lower Your Expectations. Those are all some great ones. Thank you for checking out my channel and really appreciate your kind words. Ghost. All awesome, thanks for the recommendations. You have a new fan. Livvy. Dunne. Thank you again so much. Really appreciate your support and glad you're a fan now. We'll keep making more fun videos. Ghost. You're very welcome, keep up the good work. What's your next reaction video going to be on, have you decided? Livvy. Dunne. Thank you, I will definitely keep it up. Probably will make a reaction on the Bo Burnham songs Problematic and White Woman's Instagram next. Ghost. Oh my gosh, yes, I love those songs so much, I can't wait. I love the bit about how he has a peanut allergy and his wife has 25 cents in change in her purse. It's just so clever and hilarious. Livvy. Dunne. Those songs are so good. I love how Bo Burnham takes things that seem simple like the peanut allergy but turns them into this hilarious thing. Like the way he says peanut allergy in such a deadpan way makes me laugh every time. And the 25 cents bit is amazing too. Such a funny bit of wordplay but also so relatable as well, haha. Really looking forward to making the video on those two songs, can already tell it's gonna be a blast. D. Ghost. Awesome. I always love when humor is done in a super deadpan way. I think it really highlights the absurdity of what you're talking about. I also love the fact that those songs can be funny, but they also make a point they're not just silly songs to get laughs. Really clever writing that works in both ways. Looking forward to the video. Baby and T. So what do you think of George Carlin's daughter suing the creators of the show? Livvy. Dunne. This is a tricky one. I think both the creators and George Carlin's daughter have valid points. It's true that the show is fiction and doesn't claim to be a reflection of George Carlin's actual life and experiences, but at the same time it's understandable why she'd be upset that her father's likeness is being used in this fictional story without his knowledge or the family's consent. I think both sides have valid points and it'll be interesting to see how the lawsuit goes. Ghost. I agree, it seems like a weird thing to make a fictional show about without the family's permission. I think that's what bothers me about it. It just seems very invasive to his privacy. But I guess that's the nature of Hollywood. People always want to put out a story about the lives of famous people. I wonder if they'll be able to come to a resolution out of court or if it'll go further. Livvy, Dunne. Yeah, I think that's what seems tricky about it too. I do understand that people want to make fictional stories and sometimes it's hard to get permission to make real biopics of people. But I think in this case it would be even important to get the family's approval. I think the family is also worried that this show will change the way people see George Carlin. I think it's important not to change his legacy without their permission. We'll have to see what the courts decide. I guess, pretty tricky situation for sure. Ghost. Yeah, it's just bizarre that they would make a fictional show about someone whose family had such a close relationship with him. Like, the point of a fictional story is to have total creative rights, but why use his name and likeness if you're not focusing on the factual parts of his life? It just seems like they're inviting trouble, but hey, Hollywood is a place of controversy. But you're right, it's important not to change someone's legacy without permission. We'll definitely have to see how it turns out. Livvy, Dunne. Yeah, exactly. That's what makes it weird, I think. Especially given the fact that the daughters were both so close to him and would know his beliefs and viewpoints the best. It seems strange to make a fictional story about him but then not take his actual legacy and personality in mind. But you're right, it's Hollywood and everything's controversial, haha. We'll have to see what the courts decide for sure. AT&T. The creators claim they haven't made any money on it. Ghost. That may be true, but they're using his name and likeness. I think it's less about the money and more about the lack of consent. I think they should have gotten permission from the family before moving ahead with this show, so even if they didn't profit off of it, I can't see the legal argument for the family's case. AT&T. Yeah, I totally agree they should have gotten consent first. Livvy, Dunne. Yeah, definitely. Even without profiting from it, it's still using his name and likeness, and it could be negatively affecting the way people see George Carlin. I guess since the show is fiction that they thought it wouldn't really matter, but his family clearly feels differently. It's gonna be interesting to see how this case pans out in the courts. Ghost. It'll be very interesting. You're right, their argument may be that the actual content in the show doesn't matter so much because it is fiction, but they should have considered how this might impact George Carlin's legacy and public image. In the end, I think that's going to be the real deciding factor here, whether this show can be seen as damaging the legacy of George Carlin or not. Livvy, Dunne. Totally agree. Even though the show is fiction, I think it's important to think about how this will impact George Carlin's legacy. He was an important figure and his family has a right to be protective of his legacy. I think this will come down to whether the show has damaged his legacy or not, as you said. Like whether it's shown him in a good light or not, I guess. Ghost. Yeah, definitely. In my opinion, even though the show is fictional, it still has the potential to change the way people see George Carlin, even if it's not in fact showing his real life. It's like I said before, the lack of consent seems like a very important aspect of this case, but we'll just have to see how the courts decide on the case. You're right, his family absolutely has a right to be protective of his legacy, so it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. Livvy, Dunne. Yeah, totally agree. Even if the show is fictional, it's using George Carlin's name and image, so it still could be potentially damaging. You're right, it's going to come down to the courts to decide it ultimately. We'll just have to wait and see, I guess. Ghost. Yup, and hopefully this issue will be resolved soon so this whole situation doesn't get dragged out, especially if there was no malicious intent behind the show. But either way, it'll be very interesting to see how this case goes. Fingers crossed for a smooth resolution soon. AT&T. So I just heard that Kanye apologized for being anti-Semitic. What do you think of that? Livvy, Dunne. I think it's great that he apologized. It can be tough to apologize and own up to mistakes, so that's definitely a good thing. However, his apology only happened once there was a lot of backlash and he faced consequences for his words. So even though I am happy that he apologized, I do wish it was more genuine and not forced by the backlash. Ghost. Yeah, that's a good point. The apology didn't come until there was a lot of backlash and consequences. It seemed like he was forced to apologize rather than doing it of his own accord. It would be nice to see a more genuine apology that's actually him admitting fault. So while I am glad he took responsibility for his actions, I wish it felt more authentic rather than a forced move to save himself from the consequences. Livvy, Dunne. Totally agree. I am glad he did apologize, but it would be nice to see more genuine apology that was more truly from his heart. I hope he does really reflect on his words, take accountability, and learn how to do better so that this doesn't happen again. It's just hard when you know he's getting forced to apologize and it's because of the repercussions and backlash. We'll see if he's genuine or not once all the controversy dies down, I guess. Ghost. Yeah, that's very true. Once the controversy and backlash dies down, then we'll see how he truly feels about this situation. It seems like he's just forced to apologize now to save himself from more trouble. Hopefully he can use this as a learning experience and grow from this so that this doesn't happen again.